Welcome to the Fat Fueled Family Podcast, where every week we talk about things like nutrition, training,
how to live a healthy and active lifestyle with your little ones, peaceful parenting, education,
and of course, mindset.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Keto Counterculture, at Fat Fueled Mom, and at Fat Fueled Kids, and search for Fat Fueled Family on YouTube.
To stay up to date with everything we're doing, sign up with your email at www.fatfueled.family and check out our blog for workouts, meal ideas, and all the other cool stuff we love to talk about.
Don't forget to hit subscribe.
All right, Maura is cocked and ready. She's we're going to talk about staying fat fueled on the road. But before we get into that, Maura it's interesting because today I got something sent to me from a guy on Instagram, Jesse Krall. Shout out to Jesse Krall, who sent me this clip from Wayne Dyer. It was a talk that he did on raising children who are free from anxiety, free from stress, and raising them to always think about personal responsibility and be internally motivated versus externally motivated. He talked about all types of stuff, all types of statistics that I'll let Maura get into some of them and I'll fill in the blanks. But basically the point is that we have to always be bringing it back to personal responsibility and bringing it back to our children to always be internally motivated. And an example would be, a kid comes home from school, he or she is stressed out and says something like, "My teacher doesn't like me." And, our job as parents is to always bring it back to the child and bring it back to personal responsibility because it's the most empowering thing we can do. We want to raise self-directed, free children. And so a simple response to that would be, well, do you like you? Because if you like yourself, and if the child says, yes, I like myself, then if you like yourself, what does it matter what a teacher says about you or
anyone else? Yeah.
So why are you so upset right now? Why are you so flustered?
I'm flustered because you told me, and it's not actually that big of a shocker.
Well, it's not funny. This is not a funny situation.
It's not funny
because Maura gets really upset about these
I
things.
do, because it's just like, sorry guys. I gotta keep it together, guys. It's not my day.
Keeping it together is not your thing.
It's not my thing at this time of the month, so just forgive me for what I said before I said it. But
you'll be fine.
Danny just told me that someone told him that there's like these, can you even call it a preschool or is it a daycare? It's basically a daycare. Yeah. Okay. Where they're giving 18-month-olds entrance exams for certain daycares that are like prestigious. And I just want to know if this is... I wish that they could see me right now.
People could see her.
Because I'm just curious if this is actually Earth anymore that I live on. Or is it the Twilight Zone?
You don't
is this the Twilight Zone?
You don't get it, Maura. You have to get accepted to the best preschool so then you could get accepted to the best kindergarten, to get accepted to the best elementary, to get accepted to the best prep school, to get accepted to the best college.
Care. Okay.
Because if you don't,
I don't care.
Your life is going to be terrible.
You know why I don't care?
Why?
Because the suicide rates and the anxiety and the mental breakdowns that these poor kids are having at this point is unacceptable. Okay, so I don't know at this point, like, I'm sorry I have to say this in Spanish for my English listeners. Maybe Danny can translate. But what complejo these parents have, like what complejo they have that they're doing this to their kids, though.
A complejo
I don't
would
understand.
Be, like it would be like a preoccupation, some self-doubt or some anxiety or a complex. I mean, it's a complex. Like, what is it that's scaring parents so much?
But they're trying to prove something themselves.
But it's coming from a place.
Children.
Most of the time, it's coming from a place of they think they're doing what's best for the child. Like, everyone is terrified right now. That's the main problem. Everyone is living in fear. So
pure fear.
I'm terrified. What do I have to do? What do I have to do to make sure that my kid stays ahead of everyone else? Because if they're not ahead of everyone else, then their life is going to be terrible. They're going to be in a gutter somewhere. And
everyone's ahead now, so it doesn't actually matter anymore, guys. That's what we do. We did this with the bachelor's degrees. Our generation did it with bachelor's degrees. You got to get a bachelor's. Cool. Everyone has one now, and it doesn't even matter. and all it tells you is, hi, I can read. I'm literate.
Well, I'm able to do something.
I'm
for
able
4 years
to
and
take tests.
finish it.
I'm able to take tests and read books and learn things.
Well, what would be a solution? I mean, because that's the main thing, right? You're
Don't give your kid a mental breakdown. Like, don't make your 18-month-old take an entrance exam. Don't think that your kid is advanced when they're 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because they're not. Don't tell your kid that. Don't do these things.
That's a really good point, because
and don't specialize early. But here's the thing: if you don't specialize early anymore, it's like Dr. Shafali talks about this in her book, that her daughter wanted to start dance at like 9 years old, and she's behind because these people are putting their non-walking babies in dance class.
Oh yeah, and the other thing about that, I remember she mentioned that she talked about how one of her clients had a son who wanted to do, I think it was a band, or I think it was like an instrument or something. No, it was tennis. He wasn't trying to be the next, What's this guy's name? We don't have any names right now. Give me any. Pete Sampras or Andre Agassi, right? He didn't want to do that. He was just interested in tennis. And then the coach said that the prerequisite for him making this, mind you, it's a club team. It's recreational sports. This is not like, this is nothing crazy. He had to have 4 years of tennis.
So he had to start when he was 5, at least.
And so what does that do? That discourages the child from exploring a possible thing that he would like and bring him joy. It's really sad. And that's another thing that Wayne Dyer was talking about. I think it was the Dodgers manager. I forget who it was. Italian dude. I forget his name. Either way, he said, I don't think that kids should specialize in sports before the age of 15. I mean, that's a little drastic, because some kids at 10 know what they want. Like,
it depends on the kid.
They're pretty sure. But either way, the point is that you shouldn't specialize early. Children should be allowed to play. And what about just being? Can we just be for a little bit?
Why do we have to do things?
Yeah, because there's parents who like lose their children at a very young age from cancer or something, and you ask that parent, and that parent's going to tell you, cherish your child. Spend some freaking time with your child. Don't worry about all this other crap. Just let them be kids, man. That's where they should be kids. Let them be kids. Let them play. Let them play.
Let them be kids is the bottom line. I don't know. Let them be kids.
So
for a while, for like much longer than what you think they should be kids for.
Yeah. And then when it's time, and here's the thing, these kids, by the time they're 10 to 12 years old, their brains are in a very special place where you better be on top of your stuff, because these kids are very, very smart. And
they're basically smarter than you. Well, they have more potential for sure.
They do. And they're
more creative.
They want and they seek responsibility. Whether you think your kid's a lazy kid or not, these kids may be lazy because of, certain environmental factors. But in general, kids want responsibility and they want to be given freedom. And that's where we should start giving them freedom and we always should give them freedom. But the more important thing is like allowing these kids and listening to them when they tell you at that age that they're really into something. Give them that opportunity to explore that and help them with resources. So I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel a little bit better?
I do feel a little bit better. So just stop giving your kid an anxiety attack. It's like, and here's the thing. It's already been proven that success matters more if you're emotionally intelligent than if you're just book smart.
Yeah.
So I don't care if your kid has a 40.0. Not if they're going to have a mental breakdown and they're on they're on
tranquilizers.
What is it called? Tranquilizers. They're on like all these meds by the time they get into their freshman year of college because they're so stressed out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because guess why? Because you're stressing them out.
Yeah.
Because of all this pressure, the testing. I'm sorry. Just, okay. We're done, I guess. I guess we're done because I start to like not actually care. Yeah, and I should care a little.
But no. It's
just very important. And like, we're not going to get the results that you actually think you're going to get. And like, cool, your kid could be the best baseball player, but he hates his entire soul and he hates his life and he hates everything.
Yeah, it's the kid
and then
that
that's
plays.
The only thing that the poor kid has because he was pushed into something, you know what I mean? And we were just talking about this on the Dr. Anthony J podcast, you know, like, what good is it?
He loves to pitch, or he's really good at pitching, but he hates baseball. And then he gets hurt, like Dr. Jay says, and we talked about that. Like, he has an identity crisis because there's nothing else beyond that.
So what were you just saying though before? So what is the goal? Your kids should just be their authentic, true selves, learning, and anything that they seek out, any sport or whatever it is, should come from them. It should be internal motivation. Don't try to live out your own dreams that you never were able to do through your kids. Like, it happens all the time.
It does.
They're going to have a freaking panic attack.
Should we talk about what just happened with Des?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So Desmond, he had been in martial arts for how long? Like 6 to 8 months? So there's a local place here in Brandon that he was doing martial arts. And when he got to the point where he was going to spar is when I really got excited because, you know, that's when he can start to take some of the things he's learned and apply it against other people. But I warned him, you know, you're going to get hit in the face. You're going to get hit. You know, I knew that was going to happen. And I knew that when it happened, it was going to be a shock to him. You know, I remember the first time I got hit. So he went like almost a month and a half of sparring without getting rocked. And, you know, to me, that's a long time to not get hit with sparring, you know, and that's reinforcing bad habits because whether it's with an instructor or with someone else, they're not pushing themselves enough to actually, you know, apply these things. So he finally gets rocked by a kid pretty bad. I mean, I saw it. It got to the point where he wanted to cry. He wanted to quit immediately after. And then the next week came and he sparred against the same kid and he got rocked again. And, you know, this was like an ongoing thing for several days where I was like in this pickle because, you know, my son likes the martial arts. But he doesn't like, he wasn't having a good time. And he had an issue with the actual kid, you know, and the kid was not a nice kid, you know, because Desmond, the first time they sparred, he was like, hey, you know, good job. And the kid was like, yeah, I'm still stronger than you. Like, that's what the kid said. So, you know, I had some words with Des and that's when I cut off there's certain times when, whether you agree with it or not, there's certain times when the filter comes off, even when I talk to my kid, you know, and when I do use a bad word or something, and you know, I don't want to say that bad word, but sometimes I'm using that to make a point, you know, and to show him that I'm talking to you like man to man, you know. There's times when you gotta kick someone's, you know what, you know, and you know, he just wasn't feeling it, and so we had to come up with a solution. So we started talking about jiu-jitsu, and he started looking at jiu-jitsu, and he got really excited about it. And long story short, we found a Gracie school of all schools, you know, gold standard when it comes to jiu-jitsu. One of the best, I mean, if not the best. The Gracie pedigree is just ridiculous, that whole family. And so he did his first class yesterday. From day one, you're drilling moves. You're already, you know, quote unquote, you're not really sparring. It's not sparring, you know, because there's always going to be, you can go really hard with jiu-jitsu and you'll never get hurt because you'll always tap out. And if you do get aggressive, then, you know, you'll probably pay for it. But the whole thing of it is he loves it, and we signed him up for a year. And so now he's committed to it. We're committed to it. And that's what he wants to do. But
it was his choice. We asked.
It was his choice. Yeah. So anyways, you want to switch gears now and get to this?
Yeah, we could switch gears. Stop with the my baby can read. Your baby needs to play and learn how to be a social creature.
Let's do that. Let's do the program.
Feed themselves.
It's free. It's called My Baby Can Live.
My baby can learn what they need to learn without me. Entire life.
Exactly. And, you know,
I just can't deal with it.
I really do think
it's getting so bad, though. That's why I can't deal with it. Like, it is it's just getting so bad. Like,
yeah, it's getting bad.
I feel bad for these kids. I do. I just feel bad for them.
Maura is like, I'm telling you I
want to homeschool them all. Take them all out. Just
lots of conversations, private conversations that we've had where Maura is like really affected by this. It bothers the crap out of her. And she's like, you're not cut for this. Just give them to me. Just give me your kids. You know, you're just not built for this. Let me take it. Because you know what? Like, look.
I wanted to, that's why I'm like, can I open up one of those
Acton plaster schools?
Yeah, man.
That'd be awesome. But you know what though? Like, I think
find someone
in
who wants to do
general,
it for me.
If we do less, it's better.
It is. Every time I try to be cute and get involved and be like, hey, you want to learn about this? My kid's like, no, go away.
Well, I mean, but like we can place things in their path and suggest them to them, and always give them encouragement and always giving them, obviously not just random encouragement like, hey, you're great, buddy. No, like, oh wow, that's some really good improvement.
Yeah.
That's you're getting better at your drawing. Desmond's getting better every day at his drawing, you know, and things like and coloring and painting. And then just kind of get out of the way, you know? So I think there's
been times that I've actually stopped learning to try to teach something. And I'm like, look what I just did. I just did that whole
I do that too.
Thing where I'm not actually unschooling.
Yeah.
And I'm like talking too much. And he's like super focused on what he's learning by himself. Here comes his parent. Through his own internal motivation, and he's like on a roll. He could probably like learn that for the next 8 hours if I didn't bother him. And here comes freaking buzzkill over here. I'm sorry, just parents in general. Let's stop being buzzkills. Just admit that you didn't like it when it was done to you, but here we are.
Yeah,
doing it back.
Well, you know what? That's a good rule.
You have to just like
if they're into something, don't interrupt them. Don't interrupt them.
Yeah, remember how you felt. You know.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we're talking about.
We're going to talk about traveling.
Staying fat fueled while traveling. I think this came at a perfect time because we just went on a trip and we're about to go on another trip. Oh, by the way, 12 days. 12 days.
I'm super excited, but I'm also gonna die of exhaustion.
Yeah, Mauda might not make it because this is a lot for her. Because we have Carrie Brown in town this week. We got Brian Williamson in town. We got a meetup on Saturday. We have a seminar, a local keto seminar next Friday.
All the talking.
2 days before we leave to all the talking. 2 days before we leave to Ohio to be with Bunker Hill for several days.
But it'll be nice.
And then November, the only thing we're doing in November is going down to Miami for Thanksgiving. And then December, we're going to be Ghost. We're going to be Swayze in December.
Probably the whole other year.
All right, so...
the whole next year, don't bother me.
All right, so...
okay, so first, I just want to quickly talk about our awesome trip because it was so awesome. I hate this word, but it was epic. It pretty much was... If you guys follow us on social media, which you probably do, you saw our pictures. We went out to Arizona to hang out with Ross and Kara and Ruby from F-Bomb, which, by the way, that was the kids' favorite part. I asked them what was their favorite part of the trip, and they said meeting Ruby.
Oh, that's precious. So sweet. Yeah. That's awesome.
So it was an amazing trip. Flagstaff, if you've never been to Arizona... You should go to Arizona.
But you got to go to Flagstaff.
And you have to go to Flagstaff.
Go to Phoenix, go to Tempe,
you got to do all of it. Honestly, we have to go back to Arizona because we feel like there's so much more that there is to see there. It was honestly mind-blowing to me. I was like, leaving the Grand Canyon.
Flagstaff.
Yeah. Flagstaff was just a winter wonderland. We got snow, which was such an awesome little surprise to wake up to some snow. 30
degrees and snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And go to sleep in Phoenix in 70 degrees with a beautiful, just like a little bit of a breeze. And
you know. And then 2 hours drive and you're in snow. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool state. Flagstaff was just so cute and like quaint and trendy and like,
and what about Jerome? Jerome
was so cool. So we went to Sedona, which is beautiful. It looks like Mars pretty much. There's just like red rock everywhere. It's just so picturesque. But then right outside of Sedona, like on the side of a mountain, is this little town called Jerome. And it used to be a mining
like an old mining community.
Old mining community.
Super cool. Like imagine being like frozen in like post-gold rush, the post-gold rush West. Like I'm talking about like 1870s or so. And the buildings are all there. Like there was an old mission there that used to be, actually, no, it wasn't a mission. I thought it was a mission. They said it was actually a jailhouse.
And it's also supposed to be haunted.
Oh yeah,
and it is kind of creepy. It has
creepy.
A very eerie vibe.
And so was Flagstaff. I mean, the Flagstaff downtown in the
we stayed at the haunted hotel, the Hotel Monte Vista,
in the Clark Gable Suite. Which shout out to Ross again for just taking care of us so much. He put us up for a night there. We couldn't stay for more than a night because it was Parents Weekend for Northern Arizona University. Then he puts us up in the Hyatt over there, which was the kids loved it. Thank God, because
it was the Wyndham.
Dean did not like the Monte Vista. The Wyndham. Did I say? What did I say?
Hyatt.
Oh, the Hyatt. The Wyndham, yeah.
It was beautiful.
Dean did not like the Monte Vista. He was creeped out.
He was creeped out. And it's creepy in there. It's a very creepy
I'm telling you, there was times when I was like going up and down like the stairs and like the hallway.
Stairs is creepy.
Where I'm like trying to get into the room and I'm like, all right, I need to get into the room right now.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Kind of weird.
It is creepy.
It's super empty and...
It's an experience. You got to do it if you're in Flagstaff. You got to stay at that hotel. And then just eat at all the little Josephine's. What is it?
Josephine's is good.
Delicious food.
O'Connell's or Connor's.
I don't remember that one, but
Oh, and the in Monte Vista in the actual bar at the bottom of the Monte Vista Hotel, best coffee you can get in Flagstaff, and they have heavy cream.
And they let you pour it yourself.
Yeah, they give you the heavy cream. They're like, here's your heavy cream. Do
awesome.
as you wish.
I love it. And then the Grand Canyon, I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
it's unreal.
It's one of those things where you just feel so insignificant.
I literally just cried when I got there. I was like, I'm so small.
You're so cute. You're always crying.
I know. That's what it's like to have empathy. I know you don't understand.
I'm amused by it. I'm just
You're like, that's adorable.
Oh, look at her all caring and stuff.
Tears.
Look at her having feelings.
Look at the feelings. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you have emotions.
It's, you know what? God put us together to equal us out because you feel way too much. And
I do feel way too much. I will cry at tell me anything. Tell me cry and I'll cry. I'm like, but anyways, it was gorgeous on the ride back. Honestly, going to the Grand Canyon, there's like so many underrated parts of the trip, like the drives.
We only did the West Rim, right? Or do we do South Rim?
South Rim.
Yeah, we need to do all the different rims.
Yeah, because you could go in through like Nevada. I would love to see Antelope Canyon, which is just ridiculous. Looks amazing. And
you can pay $30 and your pass lasts for 5 days or a week.
A week.
So that would be the smart thing to do.
Yeah, is go for a week.
Yeah.
They actually have little you could stay in there. I had no idea.
Did you look into those cabins to see?
No, because I'm not yet, but I haven't had time.
Because they have cabins, literally like these little tiny cabins, like right on the Grand Canyon. And
there was elk. We saw elk.
We saw elk. There was moose. There was, all types of wildlife everywhere.
But just the drive back I felt like I was on another planet. It was pretty cool.
All the rolling hills and going up and down.
There was cliffs everywhere.
Yeah.
It just looked like that's where they filmed Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
Just like Avatar, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So yeah, Flagstaff, Arizona, do it. You got to go. Amazing. So what did I pack? Let's start talking about.
That's always part of any trip is going to be certain things that for us.
Prepared.
Yeah, we're kind of, this is like cruise control for us already because we do it so much.
We've done it a few times at this point, so we know. And hey, there's no excuse because my youngest child is not easy by any means or stretch of the imagination. But Danny and I feel that the only way to make them good travelers is to take them.
Ooh, can we talk about now the thing with the bucket list family?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the bucket list family, if we haven't mentioned, have we not mentioned them yet? If we haven't, you guys go ahead and go to your YouTube, subscribe to them on Instagram. Go back to
the beginning, guys.
Go to the beginning and just enjoy.
To week 1.
Enjoy the journey, man, because this is okay. First, let's give a quick synopsis, a quick idea of who these people are. There's this guy, Garrett G. He has a family of 3 kids. Most of the trip has been in two kids. He and his wife, who they live in Utah, and they got married when they were probably like
very young,
15. High school sweethearts. He played soccer at BYU, and he was proficient with like graphic design and stuff, and he was always good on the computer. So he started making a ton of money doing graphic design work for people and charging them a ton of money. And then he created an app with his partner that was the Scan app, which basically he went on Shark Tank and he showed up in sandals which is freaking awesome. They shot him down because they didn't see what Twitter saw. It was Twitter, right? Snapchat bought the scan app and used it for a different application, and he and his partner got $52 million out of that. So they get $52 million.
Don't touch the money.
He does not touch the money. They sell their Land Rover, which was what they had, and
their belongings
house.
And their. I think the Land Rover was like their biggest. That's pretty much what paid for their first year of travels.
Yeah, and they decided that they were going to be a traveling family, and he learned how to blog and how to vlog on the road, and they go everywhere. Every single week they go different places. You'll see. You will see. It was almost 3 years in total, and their biggest goals when they travel are three things. They need to have adventure, so they put the kids and themselves in a position to do something kind of scary and kind of like adventurous.
Yeah, so their 3-year-old just swam with humpback whales in Tonga. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and they've done everything from, going in the bottom of a waterfall and just being soaked and doing zip
babies on safaris. It's fine, guys.
Yeah,
that's another thing. Stuff. Like, why do we think we can't take our kids to these places? Yes, you can.
Well, most of the world doesn't have minimum ages, and most of the world is...
only here in America do we baby and helicopter people.
But the problem is also that we live in a very litigious society, so people are going to sue, so they have to cover themselves, So,
of course.
So,
totally.
But then, so there's adventure, there's culture, so they immerse themselves in the culture everywhere they go. That's probably my favorite.
That's my favorite
thing, because their kids have no idea what racism is, well, they might because they learned about it, but they don't personally understand it, because they're all over the world. They have friends everywhere. And then the last thing is service. So they're always trying to serve. Now, us personally, we haven't adhered to these. We've tried to make these a goal for us. But half the time when we travel, we have a million things to do. We have an agenda because we have people that we're seeing and stuff. But that is something that I think we wanted to share with you guys, because this would be just a beautiful way to keep your priorities in order when you're traveling and get the most out of your travel. So we wanted to put that in there, and I think it's just because we were thinking about the fact that we've traveled for a while now, and we've taken the kids to New York, we've taken them to northern Georgia, Austin.
You know what Dean said his favorite place was?
What?
Cuba.
Oh yeah, Dean's favorite place is Cuba. He's always talking about Cuba.
But I think he mainly likes the cruise ship.
Yeah,
because that's why he says he likes Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba is like all
he likes the actual cruise ship.
Yeah, he loves the cruise ship because they had the kids club
love the
and all
kids
that.
Club, which is nice for us.
So let's go back to kind of what we packed this time around, and then we'll go into like kind of we'll back up and we'll say things to consider. But what did we pack this time around?
Yeah, so when
in our suitcases and everything.
Yeah, well, in my suitcase.
Oh yeah, we brought our MCT packets from Nomadic Keto. We brought, I believe we brought some F-bombs. We brought, what else did we actually bring with us?
Right. Well, I always have to go with like a backpack full of snacks for my kids, especially Dean. And this was going to be our longest flight. So I went pretty stacked because I was pretty terrified. So that's a good motivator, fear. If you don't have kids, then you probably don't need this much stuff. But it's always nice to be prepared, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation that you're hangry and you're just like, screw it, I'm going to eat. I'm hungry. Either way, there's not really an excuse, because I feel like you can get a burger almost anywhere without a bun.
But the other thing too is you reminded me of decision fatigue, and it's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
You want to minimize decision fatigue. Maura's not good with it because she just doesn't make a decision.
I won't make the decision.
Yeah. And so like if you plan ahead,
I literally will be like, I'm not eating.
Yeah.
I can't decide. I'm not eating.
But then it also, what about for the kids? We have to decide for them. So if we don't have a plan, it always gets screwed up. It just almost invariably, unless you're lucky enough to find yourself in a place where everything is farm to table and everything is real food.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me talk about a little bit about like what I bring on the airplane, because you can bring food through TSA. You can't bring liquids, but you can bring prepackaged food through TSA.
You can bring frozen.
You can bring frozen water bottles and stuff.
But don't bring plastic though, because it's just bad.
Yeah. So what do I pack? I packed for Dean some and Desmond, because he's, boys are always eating. They can eat at any moment in time, no matter what they've just eaten.
And especially if you feed one of them, the other one
the other one always wants, yeah. So some of the things that I like to bring on airplanes are F-bombs, of course. Those are just good for the whole fam. Like, and also it's actual, just like good fuel. Like,
and it lasts long.
And
like
you could eat some F-bombs.
There were days when we forgot to feed them and we're like, crap, give them some F-bombs.
And they were fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're fine. They had an F-bomb.
Yeah.
So, F-bombs are nice, high fat, packed, just like such good fuel. Those are some. We also do.
Did you pack the simple meals, or did we buy them when we were there?
No, I packed some. So I like this brand. I've only seen it at Sprouts. Well, not just kidding.
Some Costco's have them, but our Costco
some
doesn't.
Costco's have them now. So check your Costco, but they're all different, so it depends. There's a brand called Simple Mills, and they basically make all their treats and crackers with just almond flour and herbs and spices. And I think some of it has a little bit of tapioca, but I don't care about that at all. So great ingredients. Check it out. So they make it is very expensive, but for a trip, I'll do it. That's the thing, guys. I'll spend the money for my kids so that they don't have to suffer, and I don't have to suffer the consequences either. So we take some of that. I take some jerky sticks. There's this brand that I get at Sprouts called Nick's Sticks. And we also really love Ketobricks. Ketobrick is another awesome thing to take.
And the kids love Ketobricks.
Everyone loves Ketobricks.
It's that coffee flavor, and you're thinking maybe your kid won't like it, but your kids
it's
freaking
nice
love
crunchy.
it. And Ketobrick is not sweetened.
Other things we love to take, peely nuts. Things that travel well. They don't go bad, really. So peely nuts. Pederson's Farms makes the best prepackaged bacon. You can take some of that. Kalahari Biltong is some of our favorite, or just any other jerky that you like. Jerky's a good one.
Yeah, like a good, because it's hard to find good quality jerky.
Yeah. Cheese crisps, obviously our favorite is Bunker Hill. And then we also do there's usually, unless you're Austin, you don't have a Starbucks. I don't know what's up with that.
The airport, yeah.
But most airports have a Starbucks. So if there's a Starbucks, most of them carry moon cheese. So that's like a quick snack that you can take on the plane, which is just made out of cheese.
Moon cheese we got at Costco too. That's we could get the big bag.
Moon cheese is at Costco now. You could get the big bag. Nomadic keto, like you mentioned. So like little individual packets of MCT powder. So Danny will order his coffee at Starbucks. We pack our frother.
Yep.
You take the frother and you froth it up. It's just, once you do this a few times, you just get used to it, honestly. Yeah. It might seem intense, but I don't really care. And that's coming from a big introvert who doesn't like, attention. I'm the opposite. At this point, I've gotten used to the food thing, but it's not just that. It's just being prepared so that we don't have any meltdowns or any weird situations where it's mainly my kids, because if I don't have something to eat, I won't. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'll wait. But my kids can't starve.
Especially if they're around other kids. That's a big one. That's hard.
I've noticed that. Exactly. Especially if they're around other kids and they're eating treats, you just be prepared and have something fun for them. And they won't usually want the other thing. They just want something fun for them. They want some type of treat.
And if you don't have something fun, be prepared that they're probably going to have what the other kid has. And we've
and that's okay sometimes too.
We've allowed that too, because I don't want my kid to feel. Now I'm a little bit more strict than Maura. I'm like, why the heck did you let him eat that? You know that he's going to suffer.
And what do I always tell you? What is my literal answer? Tell people.
You just said we gotta.
No, what is the actual answer I give you?
Well,
I say because I don't want them to have an eating disorder.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, that's the reason. Bottom line is my kids are still going to be kids. Do I agree with it? No, they know. But
they know that I don't either. And
but I'm not going to make them
point.
feel. But here's the thing: I'm not going to shame them. I'm not going to do that, because what happens if I do that? They're going to hide it. They're going to go hiding food, and guess what? That's called an eating disorder.
And guess what? And that happened like a year ago. Remember when
happen,
we were in La Carreta in Miami?
No,
and Dean and Desmond were sneaking fries into the table,
and I didn't like it.
But that was a wake up call for us, and we had a talk after in the car, and we let them know, guys, we don't think you're bad people if you eat fries. Please don't hide that from us, because if you want to eat fries, eat the fries.
Eat the fries, yeah.
Yeah. That's sad.
So, yeah, it is sad. So, but really just being prepared, your kids get used to it. And then, if we're at a restaurant and there's something fun, we have to draw the line on certain things.
Yeah.
Just because some reactions aren't worth it. So where like I can't give Dean any wheat or anything like that.
Desmond either, but Desmond sometimes will have the wheat, but it's okay. He'll feel it.
But guess what? Desmond will feel it, and his reaction is more of like an allergy thing, and he can learn. That's his body. He's free to learn how to regulate that, and he can choose if he is. It's a choice. When I eat something bad, I'm like, do I choose to feel bad for the next 3 days? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I do it sometimes. Like, on Christmas and on holidays, I'm like, I'm going to regret this.
And let's be clear.
Okay.
On the holidays, we're talking about almond flour things.
Yeah.
And
I'm
baked
not talking about
keto
non-keto
stuff.
because I can't even go there.
We just don't.
I honestly can't even go there.
Look, no offense, like, or no judgment towards someone who does, but like, we just personally, like, knowing what we know, we don't want to. For us, like, when we go overboard, it's with a keto treat.
Keto treats, yeah.
Which could be just as bad sometimes if you have a bunch of sweeteners and a bunch of other crap, or even chemicals, oh wow, low carb. Who cares if it's low carb if it's not good quality,
Right. Yeah.
So
just being prepared and stuff like that. And so let me talk about some other tricks for like just meal ideas and quick on the go. Because we also wanted to talk about.
Well, we wanted to talk about not letting perfect being the enemy of good.
Right. Don't let perfect. We could talk about that now because I'm gonna mention something that's a good segue. So, yeah, just don't let perfect be the enemy of good. When you're traveling, sometimes it's not gonna be perfect keto. There's gonna be a few ingredients that might sneak in there, and you might have to eat some lower quality things, and that's okay because. That's why we do this all the time. That's why we eat well all the time, so that when I do happen to eat something bad, I swear I feel like my body just is like, I picture it like little like
soldiers
or something like Muay Thai, like hiya, like getting rid of like all the bad crap in my body because it's just used to it. So for example, for something like that would be like Wendy's patties, drive-through,
McDonald's
patties. We even do like what we did for the boys. They hadn't eaten breakfast. We had a really early flight to Flagstaff, to Phoenix, and we didn't have time to make them breakfast. So we basically just asked Starbucks to make us a sausage, egg, and cheese without the biscuit, and they'll do it. They'll do it for you. So that's a good idea. And yeah, just don't be so crazy strict. What can we talk about next? You want to talk about restaurants?
Yeah, that's a thing. So like if you go to a restaurant, I would say you don't have to plan out the whole trip. Mauda probably would want to, but the day of,
I like surprises.
Try to figure out. Yeah, she doesn't like surprises, but she also wants to plan out the whole trip. And I'm like, I don't want an itinerary for every day. So either way, that's interesting. You're like the opposite of me.
But you're a planner, so it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I also like...
I guess because that's like the only time you feel like you're going to be on vacation.
Yeah.
But then I guess the reason I do that is because I want to get like the most things done. And so I'm like, if we don't have a plan, we're going to waste time.
Yeah.
And we're going to be like, la, 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 la. What are we doing?
I agree with that. But I figure like if we're going to Flagstaff and Ross is saying, have you been to Sedona? Have you been to Grand Canyon? He's keeping in mind that we want to go to those places. So anyway, the day of... So let's say you are in whatever town, in some random town, or you're somewhere far away. Most places are going to have a website. You're going to either tap into the local people to give you recommendations, or you're going to probably have someone tell you, you got to go eat at this place. If you know, or Yelp. Yeah.
Yelp will tell you.
And so you go to the place's website and you find the menu and you look at a few things. You look at the menu items. And you start to see, okay, what are the menu items? And you start to see what could possibly tempt my child. If your child can read and they start to look at these things and say, oh, I want this. Well, have some good alternatives that if there's alternatives on the menu, then you can have some alternatives for them to not feel deprived. And just have that planned out ahead of time. I mean,
and so for example, something like that is like, we were between two restaurants and like one of them did not have sweet potato fries. And we're like, there you go. You don't have sweet potato fries. You're dead to me, because my kids deserve something fun sometimes.
Yeah. And you know, we just try to forget the fact that these things are probably fried in vegetable oils. But again, not letting perfect being the enemy of good. Like you could have, you know, a bunless burger with some sweet potato fries. That's some pretty good nutrition there, you know?
Yeah. And because they eat healthy all the time and they're not constantly consuming vegetable oils, it is actually once in a while, like people say. So and I just thought of this right now, but parents, this is something that I do just as like a parenting hack, because you know how it is when you get to restaurants, people are throwing fits. I ask my kids what they want off the menu before we get to the restaurant.
Yes, very important.
That's just a trick that we have as a family to just make our life easier, honestly.
And it's usually on the ride there.
It makes everything go smoothly, gets the kids excited for their meal, and then when the server comes to the table, we already know what we want. Like, we're not trying to like argue with the kids. Like, they've already decided. So it's honestly, it makes it so much easier. Try that if you've never done that.
You know, I want to say something, because I was talking to my friend Chris, who you're going to meet next Friday when we do this keto seminar. And he says that the value that we provide is in all of the things that we kind of take for granted. So we have to like be aware of the fact that the lifestyle that we live is not exactly normal. And so it's important for us to highlight all of these things and not take them for granted and assume people do them, because a lot of people
absolutely.
don't. So
that's why I said that, because I was like, man, that maybe people haven't thought of that.
I'm really happy that you thought of that, because it's these practical things that are all adding together. This is a whole lifestyle,
Yeah. And you learn as you go. So of course, since we've been doing it, and we haven't even been doing it as long as some people, and I'm sure we're going to keep learning and come up with more hacks and tricks. But for now, this is what we've been doing. And the good thing is that there's more companies coming out with more products. So
unfortunately too, because there's lots of companies coming out with bad products too.
I know.
And they're slapping keto on it,
Yeah. So just be aware of that. Let's talk about like road trips. Like, what else? Like gas stations, airport options. Guys, there's options everywhere. There's no excuse.
Everywhere. There really is.
There really
like
is.
When someone tells me travel.
Even a Walmart. There's going to be a Walmart.
We typically lose weight when we travel.
I lose weight every time I go on vacation.
Yeah. Because we don't have, like when we're at home, I can get creative.
Yeah, Danny's making F-bombs.
I am not... One thing I am not deterred by is work. Like it could be, I could be super tired, but I am determined to create something, and I have all the ingredients. No matter what, it doesn't matter if you think I don't have. Danny goes on some serious
missions that I would never go on at 8 p.m., but he will. He'll do it.
But like when I'm on the road, I don't. So
well, yeah, because we're tired. We get home, and also we don't have the stuff. Like we just don't have our little things to make our fat bombs, and
we're not going to say, well, then let me just get some Ben and Jerry's. No, we're not going to do that.
That's definitely not going to happen. So especially like, gosh, guys, you got to get, people who do keto know this, and like you get to a point in your keto journey or whatever, like it's not even like, we're not saying that stuff doesn't taste good. And honestly, I don't even think it tastes that good anymore. But
well, when Joe Rogan was talking about, a real like cookie, like a real
a real cookie. Okay, yeah. There's certain things.
I'm like, dang,
there's
man,
certain things
you
like
explain that really well.
Yeah, like a real chocolate chip cookie or like a donut, right? Like that's like the perfect
donut. Doesn't even.
Yeah, Danny doesn't care about donuts, but people that are donut people know what I mean. Like there's nothing better, right? Yeah. But I'm not gonna eat a freaking donut like while I'm on vacation, because guess what? Vacation is not the right time to feel like crap for 3 days.
And like, don't get me wrong. I mean, if it's fine dining, like, and you're in Italy or in Japan, where Japan is like, it's going to be rice and vegetables and really lean meat. Or if you're going to be in Italy, you're going to see pasta, but it's not going to be GMO. And theoretically speaking, we probably would eat something just to say, because
But if I'm going to eat something like that, it better be Italy. I'm not going to eat it in Arizona. Yep. I'm not gonna eat pasta. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's just what we like, weigh the odds and figure out what's important to you,
and cost benefit analysis or risk and benefit analysis.
Since we're on the like dessert topic, I'm gonna like what are some things that because we kind of do the same things. Like when we're out and about, we still like have some things for dessert, like dark chocolate.
Oh yeah, there's dark chocolate everywhere.
There's always like a grocery store that has dark chocolate.
Lint, 90% chocolate. The boys love touch of sea salt. It's a little bit higher. I mean, it's like 5 grams of sugar per serving. But again, this is going back to that whole thing about let them be kids and every once in a while it doesn't hurt.
And I'd rather them eat an entire Lint bar than, I don't know, Lucky Charms.
Yeah. or even just like a dessert. Like, I mean,
or any dessert.
Weird desserts.
Yeah.
What else? One of the things that we talk about before we get into like, you know, all the airports and gas stations and all that. We always, every day they get some high fat, high protein breakfast.
Oh, yes.
We've been doing that since before they were keto. Like even when they were paleo, keto-ish, you know.
Even when they were eating
half keto.
Standard American kid diet.
They were never eating that. I don't know why
well, because they ate pretty crappy.
But they ate, that was only
Chewy
lunch.
Bars?
That was, well, you're right. They would eat
had a lot of snacks.
drive-through lunch a lot of the time. So crappy lunches and crappy snacks. So
crappy lunches, crappy snacks, good dinner, good breakfast.
Yeah. So we got rid of that in August of 2017 and we got serious. So for the most part, we don't.
But really starting their day like that, it's true. It's true. It gives them more energy.
Some bacon or sausage, some eggs, you know, they love that. And, you know, that gives you some leeway. Because if you're really busy and it's one of those things where you got to be mindful of your kids because we're keto. So like, especially if we eat breakfast, because we rarely eat breakfast. Yeah. So if we eat breakfast, we're not going to eat till dinner. It's just, we're not going to be hungry.
I'm not hungry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so these kids, like it's 2 p.m. I'm like, crap, these kids have not eaten. That happened to us like the second day in Flagstaff. So we were at F-Bombs headquarters.
But it's funny because since the kids are keto too, they sometimes don't feel it.
Yeah. But then we're just like, you know, let's whatever. It doesn't matter for them, but we should. No, but we should try to feed them.
Yeah, we should try to feed them.
Yeah, we should try to feed our kids.
That should be. We don't feed them.
That should be something that we generally do is feed our kids.
Yeah, should we start feeding them?
Yeah, we should. We should.
Guys, I hope you know we're joking. My kids eat better than a lot of people.
Yeah, and they can speak to it too. I mean, Dean the other day, poor kid. I was like, we corrected him. He was like, what was he? He was having allergies for some reason, right? Was that what it was? And we were like, what? And then he was like, I think it was all the candy I ate. And I was like, what do you mean the candy you ate? He's like, he had candy at the restaurant that we posted about on Instagram. It was a restaurant. It's called Bed and Breakfast or Breakfast Kitchen and Bar.
Yeah.
In
Scottsdale.
In Scottsdale. They have a keto menu, but they also have candy in the front, like because
it's like Halloween, and they have like a thing with candy, and I'm just like, why?
So Dean had a bunch of candy, and like it was like 5 days after we had gotten back. He said it was all the candy he ate. We said, buddy, that
was a long time.
That was a long time ago. That was probably wasn't it, you know. So we want to make sure that he doesn't have these unrealistic fears of eating this crap, and that it's going to come back and bite him like a week later,
a month later.
Yeah,
that's funny.
So, okay, we go to gas stations. In general, they're going to probably have hard-boiled eggs. They're going to have cheeses. They're going to have lunch meats and salamis. Not great. But again, if you're in a pinch and you didn't plan or you weren't able to pack these things or something happened, you know that pretty much anywhere you go, gas stations are going to have some options, whether they be nuts, hopefully raw. You don't want them roasted because most of the time they're roasted in vegetable oils. So you want to try to get as much as possible raw nuts. And what else?
Well, Wawa has like pepperoni and cheese. There's like mozzarella cheese sticks. Sometimes they have hard-boiled eggs, like fruit cups for the kids. And that's it. Pretty much for gas
if you're
stations.
Lucky, Greek yogurt, if you're lucky.
Yeah, sometimes they have Greek yogurt. But seriously, like, unless you're like in the middle of like the wild or something, there's somewhere for you to eat.
In which case, there's probably nothing. There's not going to be a McDonald's, or there's not going to be
nothing. And then you should prepare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what else is there?
Well, airports. So airports have the same thing, cheeses, nuts. I've even seen people are trying to get healthy. So they have these like fresh sections where it's like hard-boiled eggs or like little salads, which I would never eat. Especially because those salads are like sitting there. I don't know what's up with that salad, but.
Ooh, I just remembered the cruise.
Oh, yeah. What else can we get at airports, though? Airports always have a burger place. There's always like little restaurants that you can get some food at.
Everybody's they're going to have meat and vegetables on their menu. Everybody's going to have that.
Yeah. I honestly don't even know why anyone thinks it's hard in general.
I think it's just
unless
a lack
you're
of
literally
awareness.
at a vegan restaurant, which there isn't even that many vegan restaurants. So like, why are you even at a vegan restaurant? But unless you're at a vegan restaurant, there's something for you to eat somewhere.
Carlos Dones told me this story once.
Cracker Barrel, bro. Cracker Barrel is the best because you can like get breakfast.
Yeah.
Breakfast is always good. Breakfast for dinner.
Yeah. Carlos Dones was at a restaurant, a vegan restaurant in LA. I
heard this story. Did he say it on the...
He told me, I think it was on a live or it might have been on the Ketogenic Athlete.
Story.
So he had just done like, I don't know, like a 30-mile run or something. And that's a short run for him because he does like 100 and 200 miles.
Marathons.
And he met up with his friend and he sits down. He didn't know that it was a vegan restaurant. And he's like...
I'd be so offended.
He's like, where's the meat? And they're like, well, this is a vegan restaurant, sir. And he's like, all right, let's go. And they picked up and they just
There's
left.
literally nothing to eat.
Oh, there's not. I mean, yeah, there's
nothing to eat.
Yeah.
I can't. That's literally the only place that I can't eat anything at all. Because I don't even want the salad. I'm like, I don't want your salad.
You're not going to feel, you're not going to feel
I'm going to feel horrible.
The cruise, I was going to say that the cruises, blame it or thank all of the people with metabolic syndrome and diabetes. They now have a lot more meat. They have a lot more healthy options. They even have no sugar added and sugar-free options for
pretty much
desserts.
every meal.
Yeah.
They had a sugar-free dessert. And so that's where we also, like, we're not perfect. Like, we went on our cruise.
We went to the first 2 days, we didn't have the sugar-free desserts. And then day 3, 4, and 5, we had sugar-free desserts.
But I honestly didn't even always have them because sometimes I didn't like it. Like, not like it depended. Like, it had to be really good. And I still lost weight. And I felt pretty okay. So yeah, that's pretty much for food. Should we talk about like fitness on the road?
So part of the Bucket List family's adventure. So part of adventure, it doesn't have to always be like something that makes your butt pucker.
Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be skydiving.
Yeah, but like, adventure,
swimming with sharks.
It usually implies something outdoors, something out in nature, something out in...
Yeah, so for example, if we're going to go to the Grand Canyon, which we did, or we're going to go to Sedona, like on those days, Danny and I don't actually worry about going to the gym because I'm going to be
hiking all day, walking all day.
And so that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I do sometimes... look for all the Lifetime gyms wherever I go.
Oh yeah, I was going to say
so
we also
nice.
wear Dean sometimes. Dean has low energy. It makes it so sad, because you could tell
he needs DNA testing.
He needs DNA testing because he probably has B vitamin deficiency. And
I'm supplementing, but it's really hard. You don't want to over supplement with B's.
There's a special you have to have the right balance of B vitamins, different B vitamins. But like in general, like if he's got a lot of energy, he'll walk as much as possible. And when he gets tired, then it's time to wear him. And so we have the Tula.
We have a Tula, which
Tula
is
in
great.
the wild.
Yeah, Tula in the wild. They have the Tulas, by the way. The sizes, if you get the toddler, that thing goes up to like
60 or 70.
Probably more. I want to say it's, I don't know, I got to check, but maybe 60
Those things are sturdy. You can wear your kid.
Those things are serious. I could probably still put Desmond on my back.
Well, you did like a year and a half ago.
I did when he was like 5. And let me just tell you, when he's 5, he's wearing 8 to 10. So
yeah. Well,
he's now in 10 to 12.
He's wearing 10 to 12. Yesterday we had for his intro class of jiu-jitsu, it was 4 to 7. Well, 4 to 7 was the kids class, right?
Yeah.
And so he gets there and we're like, oh, perfect. Both kids can be in the same class. And we get there and they're like, no, your son can't go in this class. He's as tall
enormous.
as our 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
So he had to wait 30 minutes. So now he goes with the bigger kids, which is awesome because there's 12-year-olds in there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's the same size as all the kids. Like, so
he is very big. I don't know if it's that he's big or they're short.
It's a combination because
his kids are getting shorter.
He is, yeah. Oh, that was recently.
Rob Wolf. That's Rob Wolf.
Yeah, that's Rob Wolf. Well, we were talking
Every time
about,
I see that, I'm like, that's so good.
Why don't you
that's
share
so
the...
good.
That's so
I'm
good.
like, that's so good.
That's good. Why don't you tell them about your little revelation the other day about kids and parents unwillingly following a pretty much vegan diet. Yeah, explain that a little bit.
Guys, you know what's vegan? Oreos.
Well, our diet in general is very vegan because we have a very plant-based diet filled with refined carbohydrates and sugars, and very little meat, which is very, very similar to a vegan diet.
Even the parents that want to give their kids protein, the problem is that since they're eating all the kid food, they're not eating the protein. So
yeah, they don't want to eat it.
You are it's
hyper palatable.
Kids are ending up being vegans.
Yeah.
But not even because their parents are trying to make them vegan or because they're trying to be vegan. It's just because they're eating goldfish all day. So they didn't actually eat protein.
Yeah. And but the goldfish has cheese, so that's not a good example.
Goldfish, is it real cheese? I don't even know.
Yeah, but it's probably going to have some sort of animal product.
Cheese product?
Yeah. But you get the point.
But the whole point is that their protein is just very, very low.
So what is that? Because the translation,
it stunts your growth.
It stunts your growth, but only one way, right? It stunts you from growing taller,
from going up,
but it doesn't stunt your growth from growing wider.
From growing wider, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a really cool revelation that Maura had. Well, it's not cool at all.
Well, because I'm sorry, I mean, Desmond is an extreme example because he's always been enormous,
and he's always had a very much meat
heavy diet because that's what he wants.
Yeah.
Since he was 4, he would stare at my steak.
Yeah.
So, he's super tall for his age, but at the same time, I'm buying these clothes and I'm like, what 10-year-old is this for? Because this looks small to me.
Yeah.
And when I was 10, I was like, I look the way I look now, except I was 10.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit puberty at 10, so that was a problem. Not a problem, but it made me be super big and just bigger than everyone and taller.
I mean, I was
not big. I wasn't big. I was just
kid.
The way I am now.
I was the only thing that was bigger was my legs were always bigger, but I was always lean and muscular. But you weren't
tall like Des, were you?
I was not tall like Desmond at all. You weren't taller than
everyone.
I was definitely not. In middle school, if anyone here is listening, I know some of my friends have commented that I went to school with, in middle school with. My friend Frank Zapata just commented the other day, oh, I love what you guys are doing. He was one of my best friends in middle school, and we were both short, and I basically in high school, I grew up every year and got bigger. So it was my body was time to grow. And it was 9th grade, 10th grade. I'm going to look for my 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th pictures.
That's so when you
could
grew?
See, by 11th grade, from 10th to 11th is when it's from boy to man.
That always happens with guys.
My neck is bigger. I'm just
that's always happens with boys.
But Desmond is the opposite. Desmond is tall from a young age,
Yeah, so, he's very tall. So
these kids are eating a very much of close to, they have a low protein diet, and it's
very low quality, guys.
Very low quality.
It's just very low quality if you think about it. Let's stop feeding our kids low quality food. Yeah. Okay.
And again, we talked about this with Anthony
J. It's
just
low quality.
But this is a scientific definition. A low quality food doesn't have the nutrient density that a high quality food like meat. So meat is considered a high quality food. Most vegetables are considered low quality. Don't get me wrong. Eat your veggies if you can tolerate them. I'm just saying scientifically, it just is not nearly as nutrient dense as meat, especially organ meat.
Right.
So let's
and
go
it
back
doesn't
to
matter that
those, and
here's the thing, it doesn't matter that all these things are fortified because it's obviously not working. It's worse, especially in the case of B vitamins.
Ooh, and one of the doctors that I follow on Instagram just shared today that I don't remember.
It's a processed food. Ali Miller talks about this. Fortified vitamins are a processed food.
And there was a doctor that shared something that I think it's in the UK, they're starting to fortify, I forgot what it was. And it's if you're a scientist, you should know better.
Yeah.
You should know much better.
They do. They're trying to make money.
You're trying to fortify something with folate, and that there's at least a fourth of people are going to have compromised methylation.
I've heard a third, but...
A third to a fourth, let's say. Even
if it's a fourth.
At the very least a fourth, right? And if you're putting folate and it's not methylated and you're fortifying your foods, you're not doing anything.
You're actually making it worse. You can cause a deficiency. Yeah, so I don't know why we started talking about that.
Yeah, we were starting to get into like the fitness thing, and then I think it was just because we talked about
because I was talking about the Tula. Wow, sorry for that.
That is a rant. That is a rant.
That was the rantiest rant of all.
Yeah. So in general, like the kids, we always find gyms, and so like in Flagstaff, we trained at Insurgent Fitness, which again, it was Morgan and his wife Michelle, great people, awesome gym. We trained there one day, and then Maura trained at Lifetime in Phoenix, and I went to Tempe to train at Revolution training with Mike Peltz, a good friend who I had been friends with him for years online, and Maura and I had been friends with him and his wife Shandy for years, and we finally got to hang out with them in person, and it was freaking awesome. And we got to meet his son Zayden, which I think it's Zayden.Peltz.
You gotta follow him on Instagram.
Follow him because this kid is a freak. Like he does like trampoline, like tumbling, acrobatics. Yeah. Like acrobats. And it's honestly, insane. It defies the mind.
It defies everything.
Because like he's crazy. But so I trained with Mike, you trained at Lifetime. So out of the 6 days we were there, I only went
to the gym twice.
Yeah. But we did hiking in Sedona,
we try to stay active. And definitely I'm not going to not be active. So if I would have figured out like some type of outdoor workout quickly if I knew that I wasn't going to be active. Plus, like if there is a gym, like if you're in in a city, there's going to be gyms that will let you drop in and leave your kids. Like they'll let you. LA Fitness, 24 Hour, all these gyms will let you'll pay a fee, but you could just drop in and it's a nice break. The kids have fun in those kids clubs, and you can fit it in, or you can do something outside.
Yeah. Outside is always a great option.
Yeah.
Like we'll think of some fun stuff.
And to do honestly, guys, here's the thing. Honestly, if you work out all the time like we do, and you don't want to work out for 6 days, don't work out.
Well,
stay active, but you don't have to like go to the gym.
But we found, you and I, when we were in Turks and Caicos, we didn't train that much, and we started to hurt. Like our bodies started to feel worse. So I think
we weren't as active.
Like, every 2 to 3 days, I think, even if you're on vacation for like a week,
you got to do something.
Yeah, I think if you can get a workout, some type of training in every 2 to 3 days, that will help you to feel energized and get all those endorphins and all those benefits.
I can't go that long. I can't go.
I feel like we start to rust. Something. Like I start to rust. like. And I'm terrified because when I'm older, I'm like, I cannot stop moving.
No, you
can't.
The
minute I stop moving, I'm going to feel like crap.
The same thing happens to me when I stop moving. I feel like crap all around.
I think this was, we got this podcasting thing down pretty well. Like we covered everything we wanted to cover. Okay, Fat Fueled Fam is going to be our code for most of these products that we mentioned.
I'll put them on the show notes, but for F-Bomb, you can purchase F-Bombs and you'll get 20% off using code FatFueledFam. You'll get 10% off of Peely Nuts with Fat Fueled Bomb. And we'll put all these things. Yeah, all of the other ones. Yeah, if we have any other codes, we'll put these in the show notes.
We don't have codes for everything. We when we do, it's because a lot of the times it helps us get a product that we love for cheaper. So so we get to use our own code and
but we don't have codes for everything.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. That's staying fat fueled on the road.
Yeah, we hope you like this little episode. Is it even little?
Well, no, it's typical. We still managed to talk for an hour and 2 minutes.
Awesome.
Anything else before we sign off? Anything?
No.
All right.
All right.
See you guys next week.
See ya.
Go,